and which was really interesting because they really try to get towards realism at that age. And he was going just the other direction, but he probably had one of the highest IQs that we've ever dealt with over at the school. So he was kindergartner, but he was doing 5th grade math.
Oh, Lord.
I think we're ready, Mary.
Okay. Okay, I'm calling this to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Fields.
Here.
Ms. Brazil. Mr. Conley.
Here.
Mr. Green.
Here.
Ms. Stokes.
Here.
Okay, so approval of agenda. Does any board member wish to add or delete something from the agenda? So
I have no changes.
Mary, if there is a change under informational, the peer mediation presentation cannot happen tonight. They will not be able to attend.
Okay.
Informational tab 7, the very first one.
Tab 7, you said.
Secondary peer mediation.
Oh, okay, I get it. So I don't know if it's an information item. Do we need a correction to the agenda? Okay, I don't think we do either. Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Fields.
Aye.
Ms. Brazil. Mr. Conley.
Aye.
Mr. Green.
Aye.
Ms. Stokes.
Aye.
So as your board, we are humbled to be here tonight. We consider ourselves change agents. We have our hands on hope. We are united in purpose and mind to serve our children and our community. Again, it is an honor. And so at this time, as public presentation, is there anyone who wishes to address the board?
I just want to mention that during public participation, no comments will be made by the board or questions asked. No comments concerning an individual employee or student should be made. Such as comments should be sent to the employee supervisor and or building principal. You have 3 minutes. We just have to be careful what's said because it's public and some information would be considered confidential and should be discussed in an executive session. So first up, Sadie Miller.
Do I need to go anywhere specific? Just
Podium, please.
okay.
Staff, National School Counseling Week.
Yes. So it is. I would have put myself on the agenda, but I have class Monday nights, and so public comment was the easiest for me. I am one of the high school counselors here, and I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about some data that we have for school counseling. I just saw this today. So for the 2022-2023 school year, I'm going to talk about ratios for students, how many students per counselor that we have. What our professional organization, ASCA, wants us to have is 250 to 1 counselor. Around the United States right now, it's about 385 to 1. In Colorado, it's 261 to 1. But here at the high school, we are super lucky. It's 168 to 3 counselors. And that doesn't mean, please don't take away any of our counseling positions. We each have our own little niche that we fulfill in our school, and 2 of them are grant funded. Our career counselor, who is Lee Chamberlain, and then kind of our general counselor, who is Monica Sanchez. Both of those positions are grant funded. And then there's me, and I work on the program management side of the counseling. So I'm looking at our advisory curriculum, making sure our students are getting the lessons, all of the material that students see, as well as seeing students. Tomorrow, we are being recognized at the Cripple Creek City Council meeting at 5:30. So I want to formally invite the board to that. I know it's kind of short notice, but we are being recognized at the City Council meeting for School Counseling Week. They have a proclamation that Miriam has that I forwarded to her. So they're going to put that out there. It's going to be in the paper. It's going to be a really big deal, and we're super excited about that. Some of the events that we're doing for School Counseling Week on our side of the street. Today was to pop on by the school counselor office, and so all staff got popcorn. Tomorrow they're playing a little game. It's called Find the Counselor. So there will be 3 pictures of us going floating around the school. Staff will go up and I'll say, hey, Mr. Cummings, do you have a counselor in your pocket? If he does, he has to relinquish that counselor. And then at the end, they will come find one of the counselors for a little treat at the end of the day. And then on Thursday, it's our gratitude day, so staff can show appreciation for students, other staff members, other counselors, and that is how we are celebrating our School Counseling Week. All right. Thank you guys so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Yes.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board?
Right here.
Yes, next, Megan Fishencourt, parent.
Oh, I know her, but I just can't see you.
Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Megan Fishencourt, and I know quite a few of you here. I have attended this school. I have lived here in Teller County since 3rd grade. Miss Mary Beals was my art teacher. Donna Brazil was my special education teacher. And I am addressing council today because 8 days ago, my son got in trouble here at the school. He was caught with a THC pen. I'm addressing all of you today. I'm out in the open with this. You do not have to make any comments or concerns. I am here because I am appealing Ms. Mondragon's accommodations or concerns to expel my son over what was found with him on that day. My son, since then, has been set up again with counseling. With the same counselor, he was put on once before for a behavioral problem that he did have, and that did turn out well for him while he was on counseling. We did have some insurance problems, which it would not pick up that same counselor because he's in Aurora and we are in Teller County, which are Area 7 with Area 3. They do not communicate with each other, so we actually had to drop that counselor. I can get a piece of paper from the counselor stating this, why we had to drop him at that time. I did not feel comfortable going from counselor to counselor to counselor. We actually went through multiple counselors before we found someone for Julian to actually open up to and communicate with. At that time, Julian was doing well. He started to wanting to go into the basketball. That did not turn out well for him. He started out with poor grades. They allowed him to go into basketball. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. I know I only have 3 minutes here. So that turned out to him regressing right away. They told him he could play, bring your uniform, things like that. So that turned into Julian kind of, regressing. He actually got caught here at school with a THC pen. I actually tested him. I bought a drug test. These are court ordered by mom. I will be drug testing my son every few weeks until he is clean, and I will keep up on that. He has court on March 7th through a judge, which should have the right to judge and jury him at that point. And I would imagine he will have court-ordered drug and alcohol classes, which anybody should when they do wrong at that point. So he will probably doing drug and alcohol classes, community service, and anything else that the judge will order at that time, I will follow through with my son to make sure he is on the right and straight and narrow. I do want my son to finish school here. this year. Both of his twin brothers are graduating this year. I'm not doing well. I have major health problems, so I'm looking to move to a lower elevation at this point. So I don't think Julian in school his last few months here. That's why I'm addressing you guys upfront and honest, because that's the person I am. I have nothing to hide here. If you guys have anything you want to ask me, I'm here. I'm open. I'm an open book. You know me. I've always been honest with you. When I got caught drinking here in 8th grade, I fessed up to those consequences and I held to them. You know, I've had 5 kids. My son has held a job for 1 year in this community. He will be turning 16 in August. So that kind of shows you the type of mom I am. There is not much for these children to do in this community. So for him to hold a job at such a young age, that kind of shows you the type of mom I am. I am in his life and wanting him to do better all the time. This was an accident, and I don't want him to be hung for a mistake that was made. And I just want you guys to see that I'm here today standing in front of you for the accident that my son committed as a parent.
We thank you, Megan,
You're
for
welcome.
presenting this.
Yes. Do I just leave now?
Yeah,
Okay.
but drive safe.
I will.
Okay. It's
I
slick and,
wasn't sure what to do.
it's
after
slick
this.
and dark.
Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
guys
Thank
all
you
have a
for
good night.
coming.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. Okay, anyone else wish to address the board at this time?
Nobody else is on the sign-up sheet.
Okay, so moving forward, we have our reports. So the board at this time, Miriam, you wish to talk about your report?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before I speak to our successes or challenges, both, does the board have any questions for me regarding my school report this month?
Well, I rode the bus the other day, and I'm going to tell you, the young bus driver, he was very impressed with you, and then the inclusion of the bus drivers at the,
The neuroscience piece?
yes, yes, and he just was glowing. He said in all the times that he's worked driving a bus, this has never happened, his inclusion.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, again, it was very nice to hear his accolades.
I think under success, you might wonder what I meant by no risk, no reward. And by that, I mean that in this school district, we take a lot of risks. We really do, because we're serving an at-risk population. And we know that unless we're willing to get out there and write grants and talk to people and network and ask for help and support, that we're not going to be able to serve the needs that we have in this school district. And so I see it all the time. I see it with Mr. Cummings. I see it with our counselors. I see it with our health professionals. I see it with Mrs. Copley. They're out there taking risks because they know that the reward is worth it. A risk that we recently took was applying for another EASY grant. That's a school improvement grant, okay? And we received it. I received notice that we did. So we are going to be able to really dig into our math curriculum, instruction, and assessment and move these students so that they are performing higher in mathematics. We have an external partner who's going to come in and work closely with us to do this, set measurable goals for us, and they're giving the funding to allow us to do so. Dan and I also are going to be participating in the School Turnaround Leadership Development Program. And so again, working with an external partner, it's a pretty challenging, rigorous program. Tanya has already offered to do our homework for us, so that's nice. I'm just kidding, you guys. But they're covering the cost for Dan and I to participate in that as well. And then we'll get our first 1% sales tax allocation here at the end of February. So we're excited. We know that funding source fluctuates, right? We're not going to get the same amount every month, but we're excited to see what our first check brings us for our career and technical ed programs.
That's a win.
Yeah.
That's a serious win.
Yeah.
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 Good job.
A risk, though, right? It was such a risk for us to go for this. So.
If you don't take risks, you're only going to get nothing or mundane.
Yeah.
If you're going to move forward, you've got to have risks. The best education I ever got in my life were the mistakes I made. But if I didn't make those mistakes and take those risks, I wouldn't have gotten where I was at.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
good job. Good job.
Thank you. It's always a team effort. This is everyone putting their nose to the grindstone. Challenge, when our students misbehave, when they act out, we always have to try to consider addressing the misbehavior while also taking care of the student's overall well-being, right? We know that these kids are dealing with a lot, and while we can't necessarily accept certain behaviors in our buildings, we never want to forget that these kids, for some of them, the school is their lifeline, right?
Yes.
It's the only safe place they have with people they care about and who care about them. So it's a balancing act, and it's very, very, very hard for administration to do what we have to do to keep our schools safe and to keep those rules and expectations in place while still protecting our students' health and well-being. So, and a lot of that is just family dynamics and not always having that level of support and engagement by some of our families, which I think makes it even tougher. That's all.
Any questions for Mary?
No, I think it's a good report.
Thank you, Miriam. Following Miriam's read, if you have questions about my report, and we can elaborate on it.
Well, I had a couple of questions.
What is the phenomenon-based learning?
Yeah,
What is that all about?
I was lucky enough, I was invited to Denver last week to work with a group of fellow principals and educators from around the state, and we worked with a man named Pietro Arlo from Finland, who came and presented to us about the Finnish system of school and how they use what they call phenomenon-based learning, which is very similar to what we call project-based learning.
Oh.
And we grilled him about Finland's success in the past 30 years and how they went from one of the lowest performing school systems to one of the highest performing school systems over about 3 decades. And I came back with a lot of positive things from my faculty about things that we are doing that are moving us in a similar direction. And I went into it with some apprehension, thinking that everything I'd read about Finland and Finland school systems was kind of, magical unicorns and rainbows and like everybody eats cookies all day type of thing. But I was glad to learn that like the way they're doing it, it's actually not that. It would not be that hard for us to follow a similar model. When they're doing phenomenon-based learning projects, it's only about 10% of their school year. The rest of the time is what we would call more of a traditional classroom setting. So it's kind of neat to see the success they've had with that. So that's a long answer to your question. But phenomenon-based learning is the idea of, instead of going with check boxes and like the sage on the stage teaching kids and telling them what they have to know, it's a lot of questioning, a lot of pondering, a lot of critical thinking around a question. And for instance, a question would be, what does healthcare look like in Cripple Creek, and what do we need to improve it? And having everybody talking about that conversation in math class and in literature class and in history class, and and what a sixth grader might get out of that is going to be very different than what a graduating senior might get out of that. But the idea is there's a whole lot to learn in your local community that really applies to larger life applications. So it was great. I liked it a lot. There were 20 of us,
Oh, I like that.
and it was really good to hear what other schools around Colorado were doing in this area as well.
I like that a lot.
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, I think, again, the other piece of that is the guy on the side, which is empowerment,
That's exactly
There you go.
engagement,
There you
and exposure.
And this trainer really offered that the big thing that we need to be working with our teachers on is how to ask questions.
Ah,
Not so much the content. Content is pretty cheap right now. How do you ask the right questions to help students take another step, go a little farther up their own stuff? And that's the guide on the side you're talking about.
So, coming from a sales background, questions are good.
Questions matter.
They're very good.
so my question to you is, continue to develop a competitive compensation plan.
It's that time of the year, and by that I mean that's when W-2s come out, and I have a lot of conversations with faculty about salary schedules and about compensation plans.
Doesn't matter, go ahead.
This is the time of year when, people are asking questions about, can I afford to return here as a teacher? Can I afford to return here? In this particular community, my housing, cost of living is so expensive. While paper we're competitive with other small school districts, some of my teachers struggle to be able to afford an apartment. We've heard this, we know this about our community. It's a difficult
Muted.
to live as a, as a single young person. So I think that as a district, I think we're on par with similar sized districts. I think it's very hard for us to get younger, single income teachers in the community because they can't afford to stay. So I always like to represent my teachers and come out and, raise that up to the board. We're doing a good job, and if we can find a way to be competitive with compensation, I don't just mean salaries, whether that's, finding a house that we can buy, that we can rent out to our teachers, or, offering transportation, or, I don't know. There's a lot of districts doing it in different ways, and I think if we want to keep some of our most dynamic teachers for several years, we need to be moving in front of that. And again, in my time working with you guys as a board, we are doing that, but I don't want us to get lackadaisical. We need to keep that in mind.
You never hear that word.
Lackadaisical? I hear it all the time. Say it once.
Oh, you do?
Don't tell people
The
that.
way she describes it.
Well, and I also heard her say this just a little early, or crying out loud. Again, that
was my mom coming through.
yeah, with my mom coming through too. So, anyway,
Thank you, Dan.
other questions about other reports here? I saw that you got your report, Desiree, into us.
I think Tanya was on. Tanya, can you hear us? Oh. Tanya, can you hear us? Are we okay to move to Desi?
Yes.
Desi?
So, questions for Desi? Comments for me, Desi?
We got the fuel grant submitted, so hopefully you will hear about that so that we're able to cover it this year. I think we hear like in the April, beginning of May. I know it was really close in the last year, so hopefully, because we have money. I still need 2 infant and toddler teachers, but I did get 2 applications this week, so I'm just
Oh, good.
so that's hopeful.
And obviously, we had some conversations about, our audit and Head Start. And again, I feel very confident that Elaine is, and Miriam have some real strong actions going forward, and that, again, the conversations are going forward. So, anyway, I feel that we can build this bridge. And obviously, we've had such a strong history with Head Start that, again, a blip in the screen is not the tall tale of our legacy in this parameter.
So I'm sorry, were you guys waiting for me, or I can't hear anything?
Well, I think, Tanya, we were talking to Desiree about Head Start. And so I think...
Hello? Ah, there you go. Now I can hear you.
Okay, so I don't know if there's...
I can't hear anything either. I can't either. They said, Miriam said that they were getting feedback, so they had to mute.
So I don't know, but we've had technical problems.
This is Lorene. I can't hear either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I know. I've lost the...
We're working on it.
Google Meet thing after the work session, and I've been calling in. I got nothing.
All I can tell you is that...
I was hearing this until just a minute ago.
I'm sorry.
Everybody's been talking about you.
That's bizarre.
Okay. So, going forward then...
Well, anybody got any ideas?
No.
We're going to carry on.
I can text Elaine. I don't know yet. I'll text Elaine.
So Desi,
Yeah, or
do you need?
I don't know if Meryl's there or what, but it's very weird because it was great during the work session, and then
Oh, I was gonna ask.
we got disconnected, and I can't get back in.
Dinner we met before the meeting. I didn't know if we wanted to do it again in April.
I just texted Meryl and Elaine.
Okay.
So,
Oh, she said, you guys, we can hear you.
Have that training again.
okay, so I would suggest that you get with Miriam.
Well,
Because
we can't hear you.
We ended up kind of trying to map out some of the work sessions going forward. And so I think it would be best to get with her, and she kind of knows some of the things that we will be focused on. So I do know that we do have in May a work session on the budget.
Yes.
And in April, we talked about a couple things, but I'm not positive. I think it's flexible. We still have March too, I think.
Okay, then I'll get with Miriam and we'll try to figure out when to do that and then start annual governance training.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm excited for that because it was a pretty good spread last year.
Yeah.
You're here for the food. Okay. So then, moving forward to our second and final reading, and I guess we can say that you're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And even you, Dan.
Even Dan.
And Tanya, if you're still out there in La La Land, you're excused too.
Oh, I'll take it. I got it back here.
Okay, so
Thank you.
the second and final reading of our missing policies. So, Miriam, did you want to go through those?
Sure. So, second and final reading of the missing e-policies from our manual. ECAF, use of video and audio monitoring. ECAF-R, use of video and audio monitoring. EEAR, student transportation. EEAEF, video cameras on transportation vehicles. EEAEF-R, video cameras on transportation vehicles. EEAG and EEAG-E, student transportation in private vehicles. EEFEA-E, healthy beverages standards for schools. EGAD, copyright compliance. EHB, records retention, EID, compliance with Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and finally, EIE, compliance with the Affordable Care Act.
Okay, so may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the second and final reading of the missing e-policies as read.
Okay, a second?
Second it.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Fields,
Aye.
Ms. Brazil, Mr. Connolly,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Stokes, Ms. Stokes, I'm sorry.
Aye.
So I would think, I have a couple questions before we go to the next, is that we should note that Donna Brazil tried to get through on our remote, as well as Tanya. And then I'm wondering who's taking minutes.
Elaine's taking minutes.
Okay. So I would just think that that needs to be annotated.
Yeah, we can definitely add it to the notes, and you have a quorum, so it's okay that she isn't able to vote.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's good that you record if somebody's actually not physically here, but they tried to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so then moving forward, the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second it.
Okay, roll call.
Who's second? Ms. Fields,
Aye.
Ms. Brazil, Mr. Connolly,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Stokes.
Aye.
Can I say one thing? I did put in there this time, kind of a listing of what bank accounts we have. And this is not totally accurate, it's probably running a little under, because I do not have that beginning balance for July for those accounts. The auditor was still working on that. But this at least gives you an idea of how much money we have in the bank and how much we're spending per month. So you're aware, at least of where we're standing right now. And it doesn't look like we'll be, depending on when our taxes come in, because they'll probably be delayed because of the mill levy certification being a month later than normal. We probably won't be getting the tax money now until April. But it looks like we'll be okay. We won't need to borrow. And then I did put in a recap of the revenues that we received this month, just so you were aware of what kind of money was coming in this month.
Thank you for doing that, too.
Okay. Yes. We so appreciate you, Lily. Really. Again, I don't know if we can get you to stand long enough to take and do a bronze, you know?
At least the calculator or something, you know?
Yes. Okay, so then next is approval of the January 2024 payables payroll, so I just need a motion.
I motion that we approve payroll.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Fields,
Aye.
Ms. Brazil, Mr. Connolly,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Stokes.
Aye.
Okay, then next is the superintendent's evaluation, and I did send you a copy that, yeah, unfortunately, the one that I had didn't get there, and the top thing that was left out was the passage of the tax initiative for 1 cent. And so I said, oh God, so that went in there, and then the score was not accurate, so those things were correct. So I don't know if there's any of you want to change anything.
You sent us a corrected one, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, everybody got that.
Okay.
So
I'm happy.
I need a motion, then I wanted to ask something.
I'm gonna move that we approve the, final evaluation rating as stated.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Beals?
Aye.
Ms. Brazil? Mr. Connolly?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Stokes?
Aye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
So I had sort of an idea, and you guys can weigh into this. As you know, that the paper has been filled, both the Mountain Jackpot and the Courier, about what has gone down on the other side of the county. I just thought that, you know, obviously it's kind of a teachable moment. I was wondering about publishing this in the Courier with a thank you at the top.
I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
I agree.
I definitely stand behind that.
Like,
It's all right with
maybe
Mary.
as a letter to the editor?
No, I just wanted to do a little section, and I know that we, in our line item, with our board monies, that we have that, we have the amount of monies to do that. And again, I think it goes under the, like what we do, the teacher appreciation, staff appreciation in May, that this is just an act of appreciation.
Yeah, as long as you guys don't make me submit it, so it looks like I'm just.
No.
Thinking.
I will make sure that it says submitted by Board of Education. Okay? So if that's okay, then I'm going to go forward with that.
I think you should. I know-
Okay.
I know we can't vote on it, but.
Okay?
I'm
Okay?
gonna send Rick Lomberger over here with his little dog.
Okay. Okay, so then next is, oh my goodness, the 24-25 school district calendar. Questions?
I'm sorry I didn't print it in color. It was initially, and then we ran all the copies in black and white.
It's all right.
Oh, my goodness.
Why did they only go 140 days?
That's just what it worked out to be. I mean, I think last year we were at 142. Yeah, so that's just how it worked out.
It's based on minutes, minutes of attendance.
Yeah, not days.
No.
And there's different minutes that are required at the high school level than at like the elementary level, and kindergarten is separate from that. So we're meeting our minutes with this schedule. But
So may I have a motion?
I motion to approve the 2024-2025 school year calendar.
A second?
I will second that.
Roll call?
Ms. Beals?
Aye.
Ms. Brazil? Mr. Connolly?
Aye.
Mr. Green?
Aye.
Ms. Stokes?
Aye.
Okay, now, information. So we're not doing the secondary peer mediation, and we're not doing the BOCES update. So we're then moving to board attended events. I don't know that we have anything. I do know that Matt Cook didn't seem to take that as a huge concern, like we all showed up at the same funeral,
yeah,
you know. Okay,
yeah, he didn't seem too concerned because it's not, you're not discussing business. But I still like to let the public know when more than two of you are gathering somewhere.
sounds like something biblical.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't foresee anything for the month of February unless some of you do. So we'll just move forward then. Then the accounting updates. So Miriam.
So, I mean, obviously, Tom shared, it's still incredibly frustrating on our end. Elaine mentioned that she is working through the tier 1 of the pipeline to upload information for our audit, and got the report back today down to 2 errors, which is really good, and 4 things that were kind of flagged, I guess. So we're slowly making changes. We're considering things that we can do with our budget that still honor our staff while, cutting back in some areas and on some things. The 1% sales tax really going to help get our general fund in a healthier place. We want to, of course, increase our reserves so that the district can last a little bit longer in case something in the future that really drastic happens. But I don't know, what else can you add, Elaine? I mean, it's kind of just, we're cleaning up and we're moving forward. Obviously, we can't really go back in time, although that's what we've been doing, is going back in time quite a bit, so.
Tier 1 is all of your coding errors. That would be the account number isn't quite right, or you can't use this number with that number. So I've basically gotten those cleaned up, so that means that when Tom gets the audit done, we should be able to almost go straight to Tier 2, which is all the financials. So if we have errors in that part, then Tom and I will work those out to get it submitted. But yeah, we are still struggling with this system that we're using, the software system. So we are looking at other options, maybe even going back to what we had prior to Tammy, which a lot of us do that system and see if, it could come in at a cost that would be comparable, because AccuFund is actually running us more than what Polio would have run us. There's little support, and the support you get, you have to pay for through AccuFund. So a lot of the other companies, support isn't usually included. You don't have to pay extra for every little thing. So that would help with our reporting and being able to see where we're at, because we're still struggling to find a report that will show us what we need to see. And that's, I could spend an hour, Tom will say, send me this accounting of this, and it takes me an hour to find a report that will do that.
So Elaine, if we go with K-12 or something like that, how will they have? They probably,
use our system.
they would use our software system. Would they have a recommendation, the one that works better with what they're doing, or is there something that?
Well, Custer County is the only one they have in Colorado, and they're using AccuFund, which we are looking at on Monday.
Oh, okay. Active Fund?
APTA.
APTA fund is what we will be looking at
Okay.
on Monday. We're with AccuFund, which sounds very similar, but it's because I emailed them and I said, can you tell me which report you have in your system that will print out a balance sheet for me? And he told me to go to the finance tab and look at the reports, go through each one, see if that was what I wanted or not, and if it wasn't, then I should call our subcontractor to get her to make me a report.
For $1,600.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, but, we're looking at other software programs that aren't going to cost more than what we're spending now, but much better customer service, user-friendly, right, and does what we need it to do. Let's see. And then, as I mentioned before, Jason and Kathy and Elaine and I are all working on what we want to keep in our district for our role and responsibilities when it comes to finance and accounting, and then what we would ask K-12 accounting to do. So, that's what's happening at this very moment. Any questions?
I do. Just got to get to my paperwork. So the biggest thing I was wondering is, again, if we don't meet the timeline for the end of February, are we going to take and have a penalty?
I don't know as an actual penalty, depending on how late it is this will be the third year in a row. So as long as Tom can get it done, I'll work whatever it has to be to get it submitted.
Okay.
So, but the longer, I mean, we could take a hit against our financial practices from the state at a certain point. You know, they'll say, well, this is the third year in a row, you haven't made the deadline. I mean, there could start to be some consequences that way. There could be consequences with Head Start because, you know, federal grants require you get your audit done and it's supposed to be posted and, you know, those types of things. I mean, it could start to reflect on the district. We just got to hope that Tom and Jesse can get it done, because if they can get it done, then give me, you know, a couple of days, I can get it out and outloaded.
And you know, honestly, you guys, it already has reflected poorly on the district. We all know that, right?
Yeah, I
Because
know.
of the lateness of last year's audit.
Yeah.
I think that everyone's working around the clock to try to get it in by the 29th. There's not going to be any, like, oh, you're going to lose this funding, or we're going to, right? Like, it's not something like that, but Elaine's right. They could start to question, you know, how we're handling, especially because we're so grant heavy. But, you know, yeah, our responsibility. But I do feel like if it isn't in before, it'll be very, very close to, and they're going to see that as a huge improvement, right? You know, we're talking September versus, you know, February, 1st of March. That's.
Well, my biggest concerns are these. You know, so far this audit report we're getting is pretty shabby. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not looking to point fingers. I'm just saying, this needs to be rectified before we do anything else.
Absolutely.
Period. We need to find out where that money is, where it went, what it's under, because obviously he's found a lot of money that's still there. We just don't know. It's just in the wrong place.
Yes.
So that needs to get fixed. The other thing that concerns me is the fact that if we don't get this thing on time, are we going to be right back to the county treasurer with holding our tax funds back? That's a problem.
Yeah.
If we keep doing it, it's going to become a real problem, because it's not only going to be just us. It's now you're going to start getting the state involved and everything else.
Yes.
So.
Well, and every month that we don't get those tax dollars, right, in our account,
It's taking
we're
money out of
losing
our pocket.
interest. So, yeah, we lost a lot of money in interest. I think it was the accounting practices of the former business manager obviously put us in this position. And we're trying to dig ourselves out, which we're making a lot of leeway, but that brings me to my next question. We should set a meeting, right, here in a couple of weeks to have another audit update from Tom, right? And so, do you all want me to just email you some potential dates for that?
I would just rather you choose a date.
Set it.
And I would take and say a Monday, because it seems like Mondays seem to work pretty well for all of us.
Okay.
And then,
Right now, as far as I'm concerned, that's priority, so I don't care what date it is, I'm going to be here for it.
Okay.
yeah, and I think, you know, again, we need that. We need to follow up on this thing, because obviously the scope of work and the delineation of the roles and responsibilities. I was going to take an ad that, you know, Tammy's job description, because she took on so many other things, that it be pulled and be disaggregated, and to make sure, well, this is essential and this is not essential, et cetera. Because she fulfilled some other responsibilities other than just under that header of business manager. So and it wasn't all accounting. And so
we're working on that too, Mary.
Okay, and the next consideration is that I already feel that you're on overload, so I don't want to see that you're going to take on some more responsibilities, because this thing,
Mary,
you know.
it's my responsibility, though. It is what it is, so.
Well, I hear you, but again, segregation of duties, that, you know, so that you have done very well with this focus of school improvement and implementation of cutting edge programs and strategies. So I don't want to see that compromised or devalued.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just saying that.
Yeah,
And
it-
again,
it won't be, Mary, but,
Okay.
you know, I have a real strong desire to make that deadline on February 29th,
okay,
because, you know,
okay, that's fine. And I can see that, but I'm thinking, I'm
Yeah.
going forward. The next thing is Linda's exit. So obviously, the next steps, because that was sort of a curveball, and that, you know, that we're okay, is that correct?
I mean, we would have loved for her to stick around and continue to provide us some additional support, but she basically said, I did what I was asked to do and I'm done, right? So we'll just make sure that we have that last day that she actually did any work for the school district, and then finish out paying her out accordingly for that, so.
And obviously, you're going through a lot of data, and you know, in that disaggregation, is there a chance in hell that we've overlooked some admin monies that could be put into this pot? And so, again, just to have that awareness, that was kind of one of my things, you know, is that, again, what I see at this point is that we've gone up in terms of expenditures. And I believe that it's going to still go up a bit. Now, I'm not positive until I see everything, but when you have this meeting in a couple weeks, I would like to see some of the numbers so that I have a greater comfort zone that, you know, we're, you know, that I have an idea exactly about the money piece. And maybe I shouldn't say exactly, but I do have this feeling that the expenditures are going to rise.
Yeah, I mean, every time we get a grant, right, we're spending more money, but, you know, we also should be requesting those funds back for reimbursement, correct?
Yes.
That wasn't necessarily happening, obviously, as Tom shared. But, you know, anytime you consider raises and things like that, sure, yeah, you're spending more, right? It's compounds. If you gave a raise last year, then you're adding more, you know, to a raise from last year, so yeah, absolutely. But we're also cutting in quite a few places as well, so that I can make up for that, right?
Well,
Yeah.
In our economy right now, there's no way it's gonna get any cheaper. We
No.
know that. I mean, that's a given. Your expenses are gonna go up.
Yeah.
And if you're dealing with, as many grants and that we're dealing with, I'm sorry, that's like herding cats every day. That's a train wreck. And I get it, but I think that's why it's so important to have a good accounting firm that can keep track of this stuff and stay on top of it. It's not like everybody in here doesn't have other things to do.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Oh, that's what happened, right?
you know, I was 8 years old, my grandfather passed away, and he told me a few things that stuck with me. If you buy the best you can afford, you won't be disappointed. So spend the money where you need to. First thing we gotta do is get this mess cleared up. But I will say this, I think the things that we're doing right now are all in the right direction to get this straightened up and move forward. Once we get it straightened up, I think it'll be a lot easier, because right now you're playing catch up on everything.
While still doing
Constant.
current work, right?
So let's get the caught up done and then move forward, and it'll be a lot easier to deal with, I think.
So look for an email from me with a notice for a special board meeting, okay? Because we are going to have to hold an executive session, obviously, from the public participation, okay? Yeah.
So,
Can I make a request
Sure.
for the third Monday in not the second or the fourth, I've got other things going on.
Third Monday, okay.
I don't have a calendar with me.
Let me look and see what that is.
The 19th.
Is that a holiday?
Oh, it is, it's President's Day, you guys.
Can we do the Tuesday?
The 20th?
That'd be fine with me.
Yeah, I could do
Tuesday
that.
the 20th?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, what day was that?
20th.
Tuesday the
In
20th.
the afternoon.
Tuesday.
Got it.
Yeah, afternoons are better for me, yeah.
So I guess my other question, just to take and make sure that this is in the right time sequence, is that he did say that he's going to come here 1 or 2 days, holding company.
Yes.
They're going to schedule, again, another audit review here. And then, of course, I think the 1 or 2 days is based on what you can send him electronically beforehand that he can take care of. So my question is the 20th, is that truly the best date? Or should it be after they show up here physically?
I don't know, Mary, I mean, the work is gonna continue on, right? If you guys just want an update before the 29th, I think the 20th is far enough ahead to get a really good idea of how we're doing.
Today's the 6th, that's what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I'm just trying to think,
Yeah, and I don't even know what days they're planning on being here, but I can certainly ask them if they have a particular date that they think makes more sense.
because I don't know, I know with a nonprofit, we are required to do an exit meeting. I think we are required an exit meeting with them, but just when that happens, I'm not sure. And so if we can kill 2 birds with the same stone, I'm not sure. But if you could analyze that factor so that, again, we obviously are acting on the most amount of information that's possible.
You're talking about an exit from the audit?
Yeah,
I mean, that's when it's
Usually-
done and over with.
It will be
So-
done and over. Tom will meet with Miriam when he gets the audit done. I think I have to have the auditor's integrity report done and another one that is in with the data pipeline. And then he's got all the audit package, and then he may meet with Miriam prior to that, just to tell her how he thought it went, what our weaknesses were. He will send us a copy of what his findings will be, which we can refute part of them if we want to.
yeah.
But then when he does his actual exit interview, or exit, it is when the audit isn't complete and he presents it to the board.
Okay, I get it. Okay. Well, with that all being said, and of me taking up a lot of extra time, can I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Ms. Fields,
Aye.
Mr. Brazil, Mr. Conley,
Aye.
Mr. Green,
Aye.
Ms. Stokes.
Aye.
So what time is it?